Welcome to Whine About It. Grab your glass, grab your bestie. The wine is all on us.
All right. We're back.
We're back.
We're back on Zoom. It snowed, so we're just, living the Connecticut dream.
That's right, as always.
I mean, in any season. So.
Miriya,
Samantha,
do you like my podcast speaker?
I love it. I love it.
I love it. Thanks, I hate it. What are we whining about tonight?
So, we're going to whine about wine, literally, and alcohol specifically.
Whoa, mic drop.
I know, boom. I have like the little tiny mics, but let's not test that out. So as Sam knows already, my husband and I, over the course of February, did a dry February. And I learned some things, and I've decided that I'm going to go for a dry 365. So I know it rhymed, and I figured that out the other day. I was like, that's
wow.
Cute. Love that for a hashtag. So yeah, I wanted to talk about that a little bit because I think I learned some cool things, and I wanted to share that with people, especially because our podcast is called Whine About It. So I did want to address the fact that I am no longer partaking in like the WINE portion. It's just full on WHINE.
Which is really like extra helpings of that. I have so many, there's so much to unpack here. Okay, so first things first, I want to know like how it felt for that month of February. Like, what did you feel physically that was different, if anything, cutting alcohol out of your life?
So physically, I would say I slept better, which was nice. Which helped just energy-wise. I noticed that I wasn't waking up as much throughout the night because that was always a problem for me. I'd be able to fall asleep really well, but then come like 1, 2, 3 in the morning, I'm like, bing, like wide awake. And then can't go back to sleep until like 6, and that's not productive because I only have like an hour to 2 hours before my alarm goes off, and then I'm grumpy. So I did notice right off the bat that I was able to sleep through the night more often than not. So that helped like energy wise, and I felt more I just felt clearer, like my head felt clearer. I also I felt physically like I wasn't as drained. I really enjoy not waking up feeling anxiety and then going into like depressed mode, and then like taking like 3-4 days to like recover emotionally from a hangover, which sounds like I've just aged, but but it's true. I mean, physically the symptoms would be rough but manageable, but like the emotional stuff would stick around for like a week, and I was like out of commission. Like it would put everything out of whack. So like physically that feels nice, not having my body under that much anxiety and depression and stress. And then I'm more active. I have more energy to do things like go to the gym almost every day, and that has been really nice as well. So physically I feel just a lot lighter, I guess.
Now when we're talking about like alcohol intake though, I mean, what we're talking about for you for your intake, just like on a regular basis, it was still like a variable level of like social. It wasn't like every day.
No, I have like maybe a glass of wine with dinner like once a week. And then like, but it was like a social thing. When I would see people, it was like an instant, like, well, I gotta have this. Let's do shots. Let's, like my party animal or like my party goblin came out a little bit. And I was instantly
I love that.
like, I need I need a substance. I taught myself to think that it would be easier if I drank first. And then I could like ease into it and I didn't feel as anxious. So
So I feel like drinking sounds like it has a very similar effect on you as it does me, because I have a lot of anxiety in like group situations, especially like around people that I don't see very often. So like going into like a social bar or restaurant setting, and being someone that like enjoys being funny and people sort of expecting that joking dynamic. So yeah, so for me, and it's a very small quantity because I cannot handle my liquor. I will throw up. As you well know, it's like the tiniest bit. And but yeah, it like loosens it and makes it feel like, okay, I don't have to be as anxious. Maybe I'll even enjoy myself.
mm,
Hmm. But
very
so what does
similar.
it do? Yeah, so what does it do for you? Talk a little bit about that.
So it does a lot of the same things. Like I would feel less anxious. Like for me, when I haven't seen people in a little bit or they've known me for a long time, like it's just kind of expected because that's just how it's been for years and years. Like um seeing family and like it's just like, all right, well, get me a high noon and let's go. Like, but yeah, it's very similar. I had it in my brain that like without alcohol or a drink in my hand, I would feel it was like an emotional support beverage. And it wasn't,
Right, that makes so much sense.
yeah, like I had to have it at least in my hand, even if I wasn't chugging them, even if I wasn't like throwing back shots. I had to have a drink in my hand. I thought, that's what made me fun, and the truth is it's not.
Right. Okay, so I'm curious, have you had like a social situation like now since doing like dry February and then deciding to extend that further? Have you had like a social situation where previously you would have been drinking, but now you've chosen not to?
So no, which is nerve wracking because I've made this decision without being kind of put to the test a little bit more.
Yeah.
Um, but I do have some coming up. So, and I'm pretty confident in these. And I think talking about it with you and talking about it with my husband has been nice because I know I have a support system. I have people present in the moment that will back me up. And I have people that understand what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Um, and it doesn't relate to pregnancy, it doesn't relate to anything like that. Like it is purely for my well-being. Like this is a wellness step for me, is doing something like this and taking away the veil almost, like being able to have clarity and to be authentic in social situations, which it's been a long time since I've been stone cold sober at an event of any sort, even as something as simple as like a birthday party. So
Sure.
I'm a little bit nervous.
Okay, so what are you doing? So other than obviously having that sort of like community feeling and that support, like you said, from your husband and from other people, like, so in addition to that, is there anything else that you're doing to sort of prep yourself and gear yourself up to make it as least anxiety inducing as it can possibly be?
Yes. Yes. So I
Okay,
follow
tell me.
I know, I'm going to. So I follow um, some people on TikTok and Instagram that are either sober or sober curious, or on like a sober journey of some sort. And I thought that they framed it really well with like bringing your own drinks and drinks that you really like and enjoy. So for me, I'm trying out different like non-alcoholic wines so I can still like have the
Ooh.
feeling. I know. So I haven't decided which one. I have a red blend that I haven't tried yet, but they do have a couple other ones at some of the local liquor stores. So I'm excited to try those, but I also like I love seltzers. So I mean like I have one now. But like putting them in a glass and like making sure it's like a fun little mocktail, or even if it's just the seltzer in a glass, like making it feel like that.
Right.
It takes the edge off a little. As far as like the culture of it and like the routine of like going somewhere and you have a drink, so that's kind of what I'm trying to do and set myself up for success that way, is like bring my own stuff that's only mine and my own cooler. um, so I have something. I'm not just relying on anybody else to bring something or have something available for me. Like I'm kind of taking out the middleman there. I'm making sure that I have
Right.
options that I know that I enjoy, because that's another
Okay.
thing.
Yeah, though that's really smart. So are you going into it? Are you planning to go into it and just like address the elephant in the room like right away with everybody? Or are you gonna wait and see like if because somebody's gonna inevitably ask you like, how come you're not drinking?
Yeah, I haven't really thought about it yet, because I know some people it'll be an easier conversation, um because they'll know, like I'm not like hiding anything, like I'm telling you the reason, this is why, and they'll be like, oh great, good for you, and
Right.
move on. Other people are not as convinced by that stuff, so I think it'll be a different vibe. So it'll be, I don't know if I'm just gonna like let people ask or address it immediately. I'm not sure
Right.
yet.
Maybe role play it either way so you're ready.
Oh yeah, I mean, what do you think I do in the car besides like belt Kesher songs? Like it's just me role playing.
I totally relate to that. So I'm curious, like, so for me, in like my family situations, ever since I was small, like drinking is not really a large part of my family's culture.
Mhm.
Um, it was like in prior generations, which is what's kind of interesting. But sort of like my parents' generation, it wasn't, at least by the time I have like a lot of memories.
Mhm.
So even now, like when I go to like family gatherings and events and stuff, me not having an alcoholic beverage, like it doesn't even register really, because like nobody else is really drinking either. So, and I'm not in a lot of social circles that are very drinking forward. I'm also just like not that social in general,
Which helps.
um, which really helps. Um, and interestingly, because I'm not really a drinker, I was thinking about this, like gearing up for our podcast talk. Like after my divorce, the first two people, not at the same time, obviously, but like back to back that I like casually dated before I met my husband were both sober. Like they were recovering from addiction issues. And so like I found that I didn't know like was it just a coincidence, or was like there's something about me being someone who's not around a lot of drinking and doesn't choose to drink a lot for myself just because I don't like the way it makes me feel. Um, like there was a sort of safety and comfort there without me also being someone with my own addiction issues.
Mhm.
So I think it's just interesting how like I'm never really quite around it, so I don't have to feel awkward about it. So I'm curious, like for you, if that's a different situation and how that plays into the feelings you have about it.
Oh, it's like completely opposite. If it is like sore thumb city if you are not partaking in an alcoholic beverage and you are above the age of 18. Like, it is so enmeshed in both my husband's family and my family. Like, that's what you do when you get together. Like, what beers are you bringing? What cocktails are we having? Are we doing shots? Like, should I bring like the little fireballs? Like, should I get a road soda going? That's what you do when you get together with people. Like, that's just part of the fun.
Right.
Until it's not fun and you're face first in a toilet bowl.
Bingo.
And then feel like absolute crap the next morning, but still have to do things. I mean, it's just kind of been part of the social part. It's nerve-wracking to like go into it knowing that I'm going to be like clear-headed the whole time, which sounds horrible to say, but I also know that everyone around me won't be.
Right.
So that's the nerve-wracking part, is like, is that going to make me feel weird or awkward, or like I'm the weird one, I'm the odd man out. Over the course of whatever event it is, I will eventually get asked why I'm not drinking.
Right.
And if I'm pregnant. So,
oh, and you know how we feel about that.
you know, we spent a whole long time talking about that one.
Whole podcast.
Yeah. So I think that's what makes me nervous, is like having to explain myself, because I feel like I shouldn't have to, but I know I'm going to either way. But I'm excited for the journey as a whole. So I'm not like hanging myself up on these encounters, because they're so few and far between for me, that when they do happen, like, that's just one day. I have to deal with it the one day.
Right.
And then once people know that this is just how it's going to be, like, those questions will stop coming.
Yeah. It's like the firsts.
Right. It's going to be the first.
It's really courageous that you're making this choice and that you're doing it because of the reason you're doing it. You know, like, there are so many things, like, I could very well look at my coffee intake in a new light, considering the choice that you're making, and like my unhealthy relationship with coffee and its enmeshedness into my anxiety. I'm not going to. That's a future me problem.
Yeah.
But there are so many things. There are like so many things that like we aren't shining a light on in our lives, and actually just thinking about, like, how is this choice impacting my wellness overall? But let's also normalize telling your friends that you're proud of them, because I'm super proud of you and I love you. And thanks for whining with me about non-wine.
Yeah, thanks for whining with me about not whining.
Perfect.
But always whining.
Always, like, forever with the whining.
Yeah, I'm good at that. That I am here for every week.
We are wine curious, WH.
Yeah. All
All
right.
right. Great talking to you. Bye.